Guys, welcome back to the stream. It's 4:30. Good morning, everyone. It's a early morning for me. We are doing early streams. Let's go. You know what? I even though I said like early streams, I'll be less energetic, but I feel more energetic now. But I don't know. We'll see. I had tea, black tea. I had black tea, and I'm feeling fine. And you know what? I just found out. You know the problem with whenever I'm streaming, right? My nose get stuffy. I found out the reason. Bright light causing. Oh wait, I don't have my chat open. 1 minute, cause hop chat. Okay, now chat is there. Yeah, bright light causing nose congestion. You can see it, right? Yeah. Yeah. So apparently, when bright light actually causes nose condition, and it's called photos knees reflex. I didn't know I had this until I started streaming. uh, when bright light hits your eye, the pupil constrict, which triggers a signal along the trigeminal nerve, impacting the nasal passages and causing mucus secretion. Exactly what's happening. It takes like a, yeah, it starts now, it's fine, right? But after, yeah, now it's starting. You can see that, right? It's actually getting congested now. Fuck, man. Is there any solution? Okay. It's called photosneeze reflex. Good to know. Good to know. Claire, do you like ranch? Wait, what is ranch, bro? You mean like the. Hey, Gasto is. Gino. So, okay, he changed his schedule for the grind. Yeah, man. To the grind, bro. To the grind. Anyway, I'm waking up early, so I thought, why not? I'll do the streams early. Hi, 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 guys. Welcome back to the stream. Yeah, okay. Photosneeze reflex, right? Wait, before that, Claire asking, do you like ranch? Okay, what is ranch? I know like the, you mean like the sauce, or what am I doing? I just woke up. So, okay, the plan of the stream, we are gonna read this book. This is my book. Do you play Roblox? No, I don't. But I do play Minecraft, but not now. Like, I did. You know, last year when I started streaming, I started with Minecraft, but ranch. So, is it like similar to mayo? I know mayonnaise, right? Is it similar to mayo or is it different? So do you? I like mayo. It looks like mayo. Yeah, sure, bro. How old am I? I'm like a 30 plus man. 30. It's different. Okay. No, Gasto is saying it's different. I mean, yeah, it'll be different, right? Even here, when we make mayo, sometimes we'll add more garlic. Sometimes we'll add some mustard. Two, I mean, different variations of mayo. Yeah. Do I like ranch? Maybe. I mean, Uh, Mr. K is asking, am I married? I mean, do I look like a married man? I don't know. Do I look like a married man to you? Rebecca is saying, I play Minecraft. Do you want to play sometime? I mean, sure. Like, when you ask, do I want to play like together, right? Yeah, that's another problem. I don't do multiplayer. Everyone on my chat, right? Yeah, they always complain. I did have a server, but we had an SMP, but yeah, it went very bad. Then I stopped playing multiplayer altogether. What's my profession? There is no like profession, bro. I just do a lot of work, like some business we have here, then some online businesses there, and I do stream sometimes. I make money. That's my profession. Whatever gives me money. It Gas is saying, rest in peace, block shaker from the server. Block shaker. Oh, you mean like the what is it called? What is it called? I forgot, man. Yeah, I remember. I remember the block shaker. Yes, don't remind me. I think we still have the what is it called? The screenshot. Okay. Now I need to find photos needs reflex. How to stop? Yes, yes. I want to stop it, please. Minimize sudden exposure to bright lights wearing sunglass. Yeah, guys, I think I'll have to wear sunglass during stream. This light, right? The floodlights I'm using. I think this is actually causing my congestion. No cure. There is no medical or surgical procedure to stop the photo sneeze reflex. Good to know. Shit. The primary way to manage is to avoid sudden bright light exposure, especially from sunlight. Now, sunlight is fine. That's another thing. See, whenever I'm getting stuffed nose after stream, when I go outside, it's fine. It'll go like very quickly. But during stream, it's yeah. Wearing sunglasses outdoors is the most common way. But for me, outdoors is fine. For me, indoors during stream is the problem. So I think I'll have to wear sunglasses. Shit. Yeah. It's fine, right? It's medical sunglasses. So hey, Gasto is here. What's up, bro? Oh wait, you are a mod here, right? Yeah, nice. Yeah. So guys, let's get to reading the book. Okay, so I just want to say mm, my goal for like streams when I started streaming again. Before I started just with games, right? Now after like when I started now, I just wanna read the book. Then what else? What else? What is the goal? Okay, my goal, like my personal goal, is like get good at speaking in front of the camera and get good with my English. That's another thing. I think like reading books will help me, and also it's good content, right? I mean, not for you, but it's something to be documented. Me reading my books. Okay. So yesterday we learned about money changes, the history, right? And today we are gonna start with the activities of money changers in the temple. Okay, yeah, this is the second chapter. Yeah, second chapter, money changers in the time of Jesus. Let me just write this. Okay, wait. Hey, did we read this one yesterday? I forgot. Like I have the bookmark here, but I don't know which chapter, no, which topic we stopped. Anyway, I'll read from here. The activities of money changers in the temple. During the time of Jesus, money changers operated in the temple in Jerusalem, which was the central place of worship for Jewish people. These money changers were primarily involved in exchanging foreign currency for Jewish shekels, which were needed to pay the temple tax. The temple tax was required payment for all Jewish men over the age of 20, and it was collected in the form of half shekel coin. However, many pilgrims coming to the temple were from distant regions and brought with them foreign currency that needed to be exchanged for Jewish shekels. This created a demand for money changers to provide this service. In addition to exchanging currency, money changers also provided other financial services within the temple. For example, they may have facilitated loans or exchanged various types of commodities such as oil or grain. The activities of money changers in the temple were not without controversy. Jesus was known to have criticized the money changers for their practices and for exploiting the poor. It is believed that some money changers may have engaged in unethical behavior, such as charging exorbitant exchange rates, and using rigged scales to weigh commodities. Despite this criticism, money changers played significant role in the temple economy and were necessary for smooth operation of the temple tax system. So it's like a, even though there were, I mean, obviously there will be problems with the system, but it was necessary, right? It's like a necessary evil which was there, and that was the role of money changers during that time. So now, then relationship between money changers and religious authorities. In the time of Jesus, money changers played a critical role in the economic life of Jerusalem. They were responsible for exchanging foreign currency into the local currency used by Jewish people for everyday transactions, as well as exchanging Jewish coins into silver or gold for use in religious offerings at the temple. The money changers operated within the temple complex, which was controlled by religious authorities of the time, specifically the high priest and Sanhedrin. I think that's the head of the temple, I assume. This relationship between the money changers and the religious authorities was symbiotic in nature. I mean, they both needed each other. The money changers provided a valuable service to the Jewish people, enabling them to participate in the religious life of the temple. The religious authorities in turn derived income from the fees charged by the money changers. However, this relationship was not without its tensions. There were accusations of corruption and exploitation, with some money changers charging exorbitant fees and taking advantage of the poor. The religious authorities were also seen as complicit in these practices, leading to criticisms of their leadership. It was in this context that Jesus' actions in the temple, as described in the Gospels, must be understood. Like we discussed this yesterday, right? Like Jesus, like the only time in Bible where he acted out of his character was during this. He overturned the tables of the money changers, accusing them of turning the temple into a den of thieves. This act was seen as a direct challenge to the authority of the religious leaders who had sanctioned the activities of the money changers. Overall, the relationship between money changers and religious authorities in the time of Jesus was complex and multifaceted. While the money changers provided necessary service, their practice were also subject to criticism and scrutiny. The actions of Jesus in the temple were a reflection of these tensions and had significant consequences for both the economic and religious landscape of Jerusalem. Wait, guys, I was just checking. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, the impact of Jesus' actions in the temple. Jesus' actions in the temple, as recorded in the Gospel, had a significant impact on the economic and religious landscape of Jerusalem. By overturning the tables of the money changers and driving out those who bought and sold within the temple, Jesus was challenging the religious and economic authorities of the time. Firstly, Jesus' actions challenged the economic system that was in place at the time. The money changers were an integral part of the system, part of the temple's economy, providing a necessary service but also taking advantage of poor through exploitative practices. By driving them out of the temple, Jesus was challenging the economic system that allowed for such practices and advocating for a more just and equitable society. Secondly, Jesus' actions had a significant impact on the religious landscape of Jerusalem. The temple was the center of Jewish worship, and the money changers played a critical role in enabling Jews from all over the world to participate in the religious life of the temple. By driving out the money changers, Jesus was challenging the religious authorities who sanctioned their practices and calling for more authentic and sincere expression of faith. The impact of Jesus' actions in the temple extended beyond the immediate context of his time. They continue to be remembered and celebrated by Christians around the world as a symbol of Jesus' commitment to justice, compassion, and overturning oppressive systems. The story of the temple cleansing serves as a reminder of the importance of holding economic and religious authorities accountable to the highest ethical standards and of the transformative power of faith in the pursuit of a more just and equitable world. The response of the Roman Empire to the activities of money changers. The Roman Empire had a complex relationship with the activities of money changers in Jerusalem. On the one hand, Roman authorities recognized the Jewish importance of the temple to the region and were supportive of the Jewish authorities who controlled it. This included the licensing of money changers who played a critical role in enabling Jews from all over the world to participate in the religious life of the temple. However, the Roman authorities were also concerned about the potential for unrest and rebellion in the region, particularly given the religious and political tensions that existed at the time. They were wary of any group or activity they were wary of any group or activity that could be seen as threatening their control over the region, and the money changers were no exception. In this context, the action of Jesus in the temple, as described in the Gospel, may have seen by the Roman authorities as a threat to their control over the region. By challenging religious and economic authorities of the time, Jesus was potentially stirring up unrest and dissent that could have been that could have had broader political implications. Despite this, there is little evidence to suggest that Roman authorities took direct actions against the money changers in the temple following Jesus' action. It is likely that they saw the situation as one that was best left to Jewish authorities to handle, and that any intervention on their part could have sparked further unrest in the region. Overall, the response of the Roman Empire to the activities of money changers in Jerusalem was complex and multifaceted. While the Roman authorities recognized the economic importance of the temple and were generally supportive of the licensing of money changers, they were also wary of any activity that could be seen as a threat to their control over the region. The significance of Jesus' teachings on money and wealth. Jesus' teachings on money and wealth were significant in their time and continue to be relevant today. His teachings challenged the prevailing social and economic norms of his time, calling for radical reorientation of priorities and values. One of the central themes of Jesus' teachings on money and wealth was the importance of putting God and the well being of others before personal gain. He spoke frequently about the dangers of greed and the importance of generosity, encouraging his followers to give freely to those in need and to prioritize the well being of others over their own material desires. In addition, Jesus spoke often about the dangers of wealth and the ways in which it can corrupt and distort our values. He warned the pursuit of wealth and power can lead us away from God and from the things that truly matter in life. Jesus' teachings on money and wealth were also significant in the context of his time because they challenged the prevailing economic and social structures of the day. His teachings emphasized the dignity and worth of every person, regardless of their social status or material wealth, and called for a more just and equitable society in which all people had access to the resources they needed to thrive. Overall, the significance of Jesus' teachings on money and wealth lies in their call for a radical reorientation of our priorities and values away from the pursuit of personal goal and towards the well being of others and the common good. His teachings continue to challenge us today to examine our own attitudes towards money and to work towards a more just and equitable society. The connection between money changers and usury. Is it usury? It's usury, right? USURY. Is it usury or usury? I'm, I think it's usury. It's pronounced usury. Okay, it's like the interest, but the extreme version of interest. Money changers in the time of Jesus were often associated with the practice of usury, which involved lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. This was a common practice in the ancient world and was seen as exploitative and unjust. One reason for the association between money changers and usury was that money changers played a critical role in enabling the lending and borrowing of money in the region. They were responsible for exchanging different currencies and for providing loans to travelers and merchants who needed access to cash. This gave them significant power and influence over the local economy. And some money changers may have used this power to engage in usurious usurious lending practices. However, it is important to note that not all money changers engaged in usury. The practice was not limited to money changers alone. Usury was a widespread problem in the ancient world, and many people, including wealthy individuals and even religious authorities, were known to engage in the practice. In the context of Jesus' teachings, the connection between money changers and usury was significant because it highlighted the dangers of greed and the importance of fair and just economic practices. Jesus was a strong critic of usury and often spoke about the need for economic justice and fairness. His teachings emphasized his teachings emphasized the importance of treating others with compassion and respect, and of using our resources to help those in need rather than to exploit them for personal gain. Next, the legacy of Jesus' actions on money changers and religion. The legacy of Jesus' actions in the temple and his teachings on money and wealth had a profound impact on both religion and economics in the centuries that followed. Here are some ways in which Jesus' legacy continued to shape our understanding of money and religion. Influence on Christian ethics. Jesus' teachings on money and wealth continue to influence Christian ethics today. Many Christian denominations emphasize the importance of generosity, social justice, and economic inequality in line with Jesus' teachings. Critique of economic injustice. Jesus' actions in the temple and his teachings on money and wealth were a powerful critique of economic injustice in his time. His message continues to resonate with people who are concerned about the negative impacts of greed and exploitation on society. Challenge to religious authorities. Jesus' actions in the temple were a challenge to religious authorities of his time, who had become complicit in the economic exploitation of the poor. This challenge continues to inspire religious leaders today to speak out against economic injustice and to work towards a more just and equitable society. Influence on burping. I just add like tea, right? Hot tea. Yeah, guys, it's starting. It's starting. I can feel like the. I'm feeling like about to sneeze, but it's not coming. So, yeah, I forgot the name. What was it called? Photo sneeze reflex. No, no. Photic, not photo. Photic. PHOTIC. Photic sneeze reflex. Exposure to intense light triggers a neural response that can lead to nasal mucus production and congestion. Yes, 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 yes. I need to get a I need to get a sunglass, man. Sunglass for indoors. Hey, people wear sunglasses during indoors, right? It's either that or we can do one thing, but I don't think it will look good. Like we can just turn off the light. This is much more pleasant for me personally, but I think in the stream, right, it doesn't like look that good because the light is coming from top and there is like shadow and all, and it looks. I don't want to say it. Now this is better for the stream, but it's not better for my nose. So we'll get sunglasses. My rumble stream. Okay. Influence on social movements. Jesus' teachings and actions have inspired social movements throughout history, including those focused on economic justice and the right of marginalized people. Overall, the legacy of Jesus' actions on money changers and religion continues to inspire and challenge us today. His message of compassion, generosity, and social justice reminds us of the importance of treating others with dignity and respect and of working towards a more equitable and just world. Okay, so that was the second chapter, which we went in depth on the role of money changers during, like, especially during the time of Jesus. Like, I just want to make a separate chapter on that because uh, like I said, the importance he gave, and the only time he really got angry was towards money changers on temple when where they conducted business inside the temple. You got the importance, right? So I just wanna emphasize on that. So that's why there was a separate chapter on that. Okay, so now the third chapter is Roman Empire and the issuance of currency. Guys, we all know the Roman Empire thing, right? Like how Roman Empire played the significant role, like in almost all facets of our life today. The modern world, not just our life, like the whole world, directly and indirectly. Roman civilization, man. Yeah, Roman Empire and the issuance of currency. So in this, we are only particularly focusing on the currency part. The evolution of Roman currency system. The Roman currency system evolved over centuries, beginning with the use of primitive forms of currency such as bronze bars and eventually developing into a sophisticated system of coins and exchange that supported the vast amber gas, man, gas. I don't know why. Burping like a baby. Baby. I just had black tea. I don't know why. Uh, Eventually developing into a sophisticated system of coins and exchange that supported the vast Roman Empire. Here are some key features of the evolution of the Roman currency system. The barter economy. So we are going to the early days. In the early days of Roman Republic, people primarily used a barter economy, exchanging goods and services rather than using coins as a medium of exchange. Then copper coins. The first Roman coins were made of copper and were introduced in the late 4th century BC. There were small and lightweight. No, these were small and lightweight and could be easily carried and used for transactions. Silver coins. In the 3rd century BC, so BC is like before Christ, or it's BCE, before Common Era, and right now we are in AD or CE, which is Common Era. So this is before, like, 3rd century means uh, 200 and no no 2200 years before, like 200 years before Jesus' death. Wait, death or no? I think it's death, right? I'm not sure whether is it death or birth of Jesus. I think it's death of Jesus. Okay, in the 3rd century BC, silver coins were introduced and quickly became the dominant form of currency in the Roman Empire. These coins were standardized in size and weight, making them more convenient for use in trade and commerce. Gold coins. Gold coins were introduced in the late 3rd century BC, but were not widely used until later in the Roman Empire. These coins were primarily used for large transactions and as a storage of value. Debasement. Over time, Roman government began to debase the currency by reducing the amount of precious metals in the coins. This led to inflation and loss of confidence in the currency. So debasement, even now it's happening, right? So whenever we increase the supply of any currency, when I say supply, let's say in a country the whole economy is run by, let's say, I'm taking 1,000 amount of a particular currency and for every transaction. So with that amount of currency, every commodity, everything will have a set price. and let's say now the government is issuing 1,000 more. So what happens is like the total supply of the currency increased, which is it became twice. So the price of everything will also increase twice. So that increasing the supply of currency is called debasement. And on during the Roman time, they've increased the supply using instead of making like a gold coin with let's say 90% pure gold, instead they'll use 60% gold and 40% copper. So now the total supply of gold remains same, but the total supply of the coins increased, which is called debasement. Next is reforms. Several emperors attempted to reform the currency system, including Augustus, who established a state monopoly on the production of coins, and Diocletian, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Diocletan, Diocletian, who introduced the new system of coinage and attempted to stabilize the economy. Overall, the evolution of Roman currency system was a complex process that reflects the changing needs and challenges of a vast and powerful empire. The use of standardized coins helped to facilitate trade and commerce, but the debasement of the currency and the resulting inflation and economic instability were significant challenges that had lasting impacts on the Roman economy and the legacy of the empire. The role of Roman coins in the Roman economy. The Roman coins played a critical role in the functioning of the Roman economy. Here are some key aspects of the role of Roman coins in the economy. Standardized medium of exchange. Roman coins were standardized medium of exchange that facilitated trade and commerce across the vast Roman Empire. The uniformity of coins allowed for ease of exchange and promoted economic growth. Next is store of value. The Roman coins also served as a store of value, allowing individuals to accumulate wealth over time. As a result, the use of coins facilitated the accumulation of capital and investment in long term projects. Tribute and taxation. Coins were also used to pay tribute and taxes to Roman government. The government collected taxes in coins and used them to pay for public works, military campaigns, and other expenditures. So the military campaigns is actually very important because the debasement I said right. So they started increasing the uh, amount of currency the government is putting in the economy. They've increased it so that they can spend more on wars. So the military expenditure is what eventually costs. If you take not just from Roman Empire, I mean, as we go, I'm pretty sure, yeah, we actually discuss about even the modern examples of where this is happening or happened, where debasement happens during war, which eventually will collapse the economy. Yeah, the government collected taxes in coins and used them to pay for public work, military campaigns, and other expenditures. Status symbol. Roman coins were often used as a symbol of status and wealth, particularly among the wealthy and aristocratic classes. The possession of large quantity of coins demonstrated one's economic power and social standing. Propaganda. The coins were also used as a form of propaganda, featuring images of emperors, military conquests, and other important events. These coins helped to spread information and reinforce the authority of the Roman government. Overall, the role of Roman coins in the economy was multifaceted, serving as a standardized medium of exchange, store of value, a means of tribute and taxation, a status symbol, a form of propaganda, and a form of propaganda. The widespread use of coins helped to promote economic growth and stability throughout the Roman Empire. Next, the issuance of currency and its impact on Roman economy. The issuance of currency was a crucial aspect of the Roman economy, and it had a significant impact on the economy as a whole. Here are some key aspects of the impact of currency issuance. Increased trade. The issuance of currency facilitated trade and commerce by providing a standardized medium of exchange. This allowed for the expansion of trade networks across the vast Roman Empire. Economic growth. The issuance of currency also promoted economic growth by allowing the accumulation of capital and investment in long term projects. This, in turn, stimulated innovation and technological advancement. Military expansion. The ability to issue currency was also instrumental in financing military expansion. The Roman government could raise funds by issuing coins and use these funds to support its military campaigns, inflation, and devaluation. However, excessive issuance of currency led to inflation and devaluation of the currency. This reduced the purchasing power of the currency and led to higher prices for goods and services. Inflation also undermined confidence in the currency and caused economic instability. So this inflation and devaluation part, right? So they both are like connected. So generally, when we think about inflation, is like us, like the general public, perceive inflation as a, how do we see inflation? Let's say the price of gas or the groceries start increase, so we'll say that is inflation. And of course there are reasons for that. If the supply of the gas reduced, or let's say during the Ukraine war, right, when the supply of groceries, bread, wheat, and all those reduced, of course the price is going to increase. But that is one factor which increases inflation. The other one which increases inflation is the devaluation or the debasement, which I talked about before. So here they are talking about that. Like in terms of in economic terms, when we say inflation, we mostly talk about the debasement or devaluation of currency. Okay, the next one is counterfeit currency, right? Issuance of currency also led to the proliferation of counterfeit coins, which further undermined the stability of the economy. Money changers played a critical role in detecting and preventing the circulation of counterfeit coins. Overall, the issuance of currency had a profound impact on the Roman economy, promoting economic growth and facilitating trade, but also contributing to inflation and instability. The balance between the benefits and drawbacks of currency issuance was a delicate one and required careful management by the Roman government. Okay, now the connection between currency and military conquest. The connection between currency and military conquest was significant in the Roman Empire. As military expansion was a crucial driver of the economy, the Roman government relied on military conquest to acquire resources, territory, and wealth. Currency played a crucial role in financing these military campaigns, allowing the government to raise funds and pay for the cost of war. Roman coins served as a medium of exchange, and their value was based on the precious metals they contained. The government could issue more coins by increasing the amount of precious metal they acquired through the military conquest. The acquisition of gold and silver through conquest allowed the government to mint more coins, which in turn financed further military campaigns. The connection between currency and military conquest was not just one way, as military victories also had a significant impact on the value of Roman currency. Victories in war often led to the acquisition of vast amount of resources, which increased the amount of precious metals available to the government, leading to the minting of more coins. This in turn led to the expansion of money supply and corresponding decrease in the value of currency. So this is the cycle. This is the cycle how the devaluation of currency happens. The value of money goes down. The value of, not the value, the price of things in terms of money increases, like the inflation caused by expansion of money supply. Thus, the connection between currency and military conquest was a complex one, with each influencing the other in a feedback loop. The success of military conquest was essential to the stability and expansion of Roman economy, but it also had a significant impact on the value of the currency. Like if they win the war, then the currency's value, like in terms of foreign exchange and all, uh, will be increased, because they'll see, okay, the this Roman currency is supported by the military. This is exactly what's happening with the US, right? The US dollar, why everyone is using it as a world reserve currency? Because why? Why do you think your US dollar is the strongest currency in the world? Okay, when I say strongest, there are some extreme cases, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Everywhere in international trade, most countries are using US dollar. Then most everyone is everyone prefers to store value in US dollar. You know why? Because of the US military. The US military is the strongest military in the world. I mean, that is one thing. That is one thing, but eventually it comes down to that, but we don't think it in that sense. So when we ask economists, they will say it's because of the how strong the US economy is. I mean, yeah, of course, those are all factors, but the biggest factor is the US military. Okay, next, the role of gold and silver in Roman currency system. Gold and silver played a crucial role in the Roman currency system. Roman coins were made of precious metals, and their value was determined by their weight and purity. The aureus, a gold coin, and the denarius, a silver coin, were the two most common coins used in the Roman Empire. Gold was considered the most valuable metal in the Roman Empire, and the aureus was the most valuable coin. It was introduced during the reign of Julius Caesar and remained the primary gold coin throughout the empire's existence. The value of aureus was determined by its weight, and it was commonly used to pay soldiers, high ranking officials, and other wealthy individuals. Silver was also an essential metal in the Roman currency system, and the denarius was a denarius. I'm remembering Danarius Targaryen. It's not Danarius. This one is the coin. Silver coin is Denarius. Denarius Targaryen. Denarius was the most common silver coin. Its value was also determined by its weight, and it was used for everyday transactions, such as paying for goods and services. The denarius was often used to pay soldiers as well as to pay for taxes and other government expenses. Gold and silver were not only valuable metals but also symbols of wealth and power. The possession of large amounts of gold and silver was a sign of affluence and status. I mean, same as today, right? If you are wealthy, you will have a lot of gold and silver. It was used to establish diplomatic alliances and secure trade agreements. In conclusion, gold and silver played a critical role in the Roman currency system, serving as a medium of exchange and a symbol of wealth and power. Their value was determined by weight and purity, and they were widely used for transactions, taxes, and government expenses. The impact of inflation and devaluation of Roman currency. Inflation and devaluation had a significant impact on the Roman currency system. There's 1 minute. So this writing pad, right? Yeah, I don't think it works with anything else. Yeah, it'll only get activated with the pen, like the writing pen. Just no, I just saw like the mouse point just randomly moving. I thought maybe I'm keeping the book on top of the pad, right? That way. That's causing it, but it's not. I don't know what happened before. Paranormal activity. Hmm? Oh, wait, we learned one important thing, right? Usury. Remember that. That is like very important. We'll discuss about this further. This is like high tax. No, high interest rate. Okay, so the impact of inflation and devaluation of Roman currency. The inflation and devaluation had a significant impact on the Roman currency system. The Roman Empire experienced inflation and devaluation due to various factors, including military expenses, political instability, and the issuance of too much currency. I mean, they issued too much currency for the military expenses and political instability. So that's like, so eventually what caused the problem? Issuance of too much currency. But why they did that? That's the other two reasons: military expenses and political instability. So inflation occurs when there is too much currency in the circulation and the value of money decreases. Like I said, right? Let's say 1,000 in a closed economy. If we increase the supply of the money without any difference in the supply of demand of commodities, the price will increase because the money in circulation increased. So, and whenever this happens in regular economy, it's not like suddenly the money supply increases twice. So we won't feel the difference, but it is gradual. So that's why the inflation is also like the increase in price of commodities and services also increase gradually because of this. We won't feel it. This can happen when there is an increase in government spending or an increase in money supply. Inflation had a severe impact on the Roman economy, leading to a decrease in the value of coins and rise in prices for goods and services. Devaluation occurs when the value of currency is intentionally lowered. So, how do you intentionally lower the value of currency? You either decrease the amount of gold in a particular coin, or you, decrease the gold and increase the supply of the coin. Both causes. That's what they mean by intentionally lowering the value. In the case of Roman Empire, devaluation occurred when the weight and purity of coins were reduced to create more coins from the same amount of metal, just like I said now. This practice was done to increase the money supply and pay for expenses such as military conquest. However, it led to a decrease in value of coins and increased prices for goods and services. The impact of inflation and devaluation on the Roman economy was severe. It led to economic instability, a decrease in trade, and a rise in prices for goods and services. It also affected the standard of living for ordinary citizens, as their wages and savings lost value. In conclusion, inflation and devaluation had a significant impact on the Roman currency system, leading to economic instability and a decrease in the value of coins. It was caused by various factors and affected the standard of living for ordinary citizens. The legacy of inflation and devaluation in the Roman Empire serves as a cautionary tale for modern day economies, but the cautionary tale nobody cares. It's still happening. It'll still happen in the future, uh, which was the reason when so many economies collapsed, right, because of this, and still everyone does that. I mean, of course there are like two sides for the problem, but yeah, the devaluation and inflation in Roman Empire, even though it serves as a cautionary tale for modern day economics, nobody cares. When I say nobody cares, the government, right, the government of countries, the use of counterfeit coins and the role of money changers. Counterfeiting was a significant problem in Roman Empire and it had a detrimental impact on the economy. Counterfeit coins were a widespread issue. So counterfeit coin is also the same thing. I mean, it also causes the same problem, but the original devaluation was caused by the government, and counterfeit is caused by, it's a illegal practice, right? I mean, people are issuing their own money, saying it's the original money, but it's not. Counterfeit coins were a widespread issue as criminals would create fake coins with lower metal content, imitating the design of official Roman coins. The use of counterfeit coins led to decrease in value of genuine coins and caused economic instability. To combat this issue, money changers played a vital role in verifying the authenticity of coins. Money changers were individuals who exchanged one type of currency for another, and they were responsible for checking the weight and metal content. Yeah, my photic, forgot the name again. What the fuck? Photic sneeze reflex. Yeah, I had a sunglass somewhere. I usually don't wear a sunglass, but I think I have some like Ray-Ban laying around. To combat the issue, money changers played a vital role in verifying the authenticity. Money changers also played a role in regulating value of coins as they would adjust the exchange rate based on the quality and quantity of coins in circulation. The Roman government also took measures to prevent counterfeiting by issuing edicts that made a severe crime punishable, making it a severe crime punishable by death. Additionally, the establishment of Roman mints with stringent quality control measures helped to reduce counterfeiting. Overall, the use of counterfeit coins was a significant issue in the Roman Empire, and money changers played a crucial role in detecting them. Guys, by the way, how's the volume? The volume is fine, right? Like in my OBS, it's showing it's going into the red region for a bit. Maybe it's because it's too close. Yeah, let me know if I need to like reduce the volume. I reduce it in this OBS. Overall, counterfeit coins was a significant issue in the Roman Empire, and money changers played a crucial role in detecting them. Counterfeiting led to economic instability and decreased the value of genuine coins, causing significant problems for the Roman economy. The measures taken by the Roman government and the role of money changers helped to combat the issue of counterfeiting and maintain integrity of the Roman currency system. Establishment of Roman mints and their function. Roman mints were established to produce and distribute the official currency of the Roman Empire. They were instrumental in the maintenance of the Roman currency system and played a crucial role in the economy. The first Roman mint was established in the 4th century BC in Rome. But over time, additional mints were established in the region of the empire, such as Alexandria, Antioch, Lugdunum, modern day Lyon. The primary function of these mints was to produce and distribute coins made of gold, silver, and bronze. The production of coins at Roman mints was a highly regulated process that involved several steps. First, the raw materials were collected, which included precious metals like gold and silver. Then, the metals were melted and purified to remove any impurities. Next, the purified metal was molded into round blanks, which were then struck with a die to create the final coin design. The finished coins were then counted, packaged, and distributed throughout the empire. In addition to producing coins, Roman mints also played a role in regulating the value of currency. The mints were responsible for adjusting the adjusting the metal count of coins based on market conditions and the availability of raw materials. This helped in this helped to maintain the stability of the currency system and prevent inflation. Overall, the establishment of Roman mints was essential in the production and distribution of currency, as well as the regulation of its value. The minting process was a highly regulated and sophisticated operation that helped to maintain the integrity of the Roman currency system. The role of Roman emperors in currency issuance. Roman emperors played a significant role in currency issuance as they were responsible for the production and distribution of the official currency. The emperor's authority was required for any new coinage to be issued, and they often used the power of their position to promote the use of their coinage. Emperors would use the production of new coins as a way to showcase their achievements and accomplishments. For example, emperors might depict themselves on coins with military victories and other notable achievements to emphasize their power and legitimacy. The coinage would also depict gods and goddesses, emphasizing the emperor's religious authority and the unity between state and the gods. In addition to the production of new coins, emperors also had the power to devalue or revalue the currency to control inflation or to finance their military campaigns. During times of war or economic hardship, Emperors would often devalue the currency by reducing the amount of precious metals in each coin or by issuing new coins with lower value. This had the effect of increasing money supply, which could lead to inflation. The role of emperor in currency issuance was critical to the stability of the Roman economy. The emperor's authority ensured the uniformity and legitimacy of the currency throughout the empire. Their power to regulate the value of currency helped to maintain economic stability. Next, the legacy of Roman currency system and modern day banking. The legacy of Roman currency system on modern day banking is significant. Many aspects of modern banking such as use of coins, banknotes can be traced back to ancient Rome. The currency system was influential in shaping modern banking practices and laying the foundation for modern monetary policies. One of the most significant legacies of Roman currency system on modern day banking is the use of coins as a medium of exchange. The Romans developed a sophisticated system of coins that was standardized in terms of weight and purity, making it easier to trade and exchange goods. This laid the foundation for modern currency exchange, where coins and banknotes are used as a medium of exchange. The Roman practice of issuing currency also influenced modern banking practices. The Romans were the first to issue official currency, which was controlled by the state. This is similar to modern central banking, where the state controls the issuance of currency through the central bank. The Roman practice of regulating the money supply also influenced modern monetary policies, such as the use of interest rates to control inflation and stimulate economic growth. The Roman currency system also had an impact on modern banking through the development of accounting practices. The Romans developed sophisticated methods of record keeping, which were essential for managing large scale financial transactions. These methods laid the foundation for modern accounting practices such as double entry bookkeeping, which are still used in modern banking. In conclusion, the legacy of Roman currency system on modern day banking is significant. The Roman practice of issuing currency, regulating money supply, developing accounting practices influenced modern banking practices and laid foundation for modern monetary policies. So this was the third chapter, which was about Roman Empire and their issuance of currency and their impact on modern banking systems. The next chapter is goldsmiths and the birth of fractional reserve banking. Okay, so now we are entering into, so these are like some technical terms, but we use them multiple times, so you will get an idea like by the end of it. Even though, like I said, there is more emphasis on the historical facts, but these terms, right, like fractional reserve banking, these are like very significant terms, which eventually we'll discuss more further in this one in this book, the currency conundrum. So in this we discuss more further in detail regarding these terms. Feeling lightheaded. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm feeling lightheaded and the camera went out of focus. Coincidence. Oh, I think it's because I showed the book. Fine, right? Yeah. This is another term. Let me write this down. Yeah, let me. You know what? I was wondering how will I use the writing pad? Like where all should I use it? Now I'm getting an idea. Like write down important terms so that like you guys will remember it. Yeah, is there no other way to easily erase something? Mm-hmm. What I'm just making sure like the board is not covered with my me, right? Where I'm on screen. Here it's fine. Fractional reserve banking. It's like a very important concept. So I think in this chapter, yeah, in this chapter we'll go more in more deep detail, but we'll focus more on how it, the emergence of the fractional reserve banking. Oh, yeah, the first subtopic itself is that the historical context. Okay, wait. Chapter 4: Goldsmiths and the birth of fractional reserve banking. The historical context of emergence of fractional reserve banking. Fractional reserve banking emerged in the context of the growing trade and commerce in medieval Europe. So, I think particularly we are talking about England, but Europe as a whole. During the 12th century, merchants and traders needed a safe and secure way to store their wealth, which led them to deposit their gold and silver with goldsmiths who had secure vaults and strong boxes to store precious metals. These deposits soon became a common practice which helped the goldsmiths to become the first bankers of Europe. As the banking system evolved, the goldsmith realized that they could lend out a portion of the deposited gold and silver while keeping the rest as a reserve. They soon discovered that they could earn interest on loans and increase their profits. This gave birth to fractional reserve banking, where the banks hold only a fraction of the deposits as reserves and lend out the rest. The emergence of fractional reserve banking helped stimulate economic growth and expansion of trade, but it also created new risks such as potential for bank runs and financial instability. The historical context of emergence of fractional reserve banking provides insights into the evolution of financial system and the ways in which economic and commercial factors shape financial innovations. The role of goldsmiths in medieval Europe. In medieval Europe, goldsmiths were known as skilled craftsmen who worked with precious metals such as gold and silver. They were responsible for creating fine jewelry, decorative objects, and valuable metalwork for wealthy patrons. Goldsmiths were also involved in the production of coins, which were essential for facilitating trade and commerce. As the trusted custodians of valuable metals, goldsmiths became the first bankers in Europe. They provided a secure place for people to store their wealth, precious items, and they soon began to issue receipts or promissory notes. So, these receipts and promissory notes were a first form of currency, like in Europe. Issue receipts or promissory notes for the deposits they held. These notes could be exchanged for the underlying precious metals on demand, making them a convenient and trusted form of payment. So, gold was the basis of all this, right? So, instead of carrying like kilograms of gold with them, they could just carry a gold. They could just carry that promissory note, and they used to exchange that note, and whoever finally wanted the gold back could go back and give it, and they'll get the gold back. Remember this part. So this is actually important. So this actually continued uh, very until very recently, even in the modern economy, but now it's gone. Now it's not there. That's a different topic. We'll discuss this. We'll actually discuss that further. Over time, the role of goldsmiths as bankers expanded, and they began to lend out a portion of the precious metals they held in reserve. This marked the birth of fractional reserve banking, where banks kept only a fraction of their deposits on hand and lent out the rest. The goldsmith's ability to lend out money based on the deposits they held allowed for the creation for more credit, which helped to drive economic growth in medieval Europe. The goldsmith's reputation for trustworthiness and convenience of their note led to the rapid growth of banking, and many goldsmiths eventually transitioned into full-time bankers. Okay, so okay, I'll explain it. So let's say there is a bank, right? So in that, people will give their gold for storing, and they'll get a promissory note. And these were goldsmiths. So initially the goldsmiths will keep all the gold and they'll just store it. They'll store the gold in their vaults and they'll just give out promissory note. And whoever comes back with the promissory note, they'll give the gold back. So it was like one on one. How much ever promissory note they give out, they'll have that much gold with them. But eventually, what they found out was a portion of the gold will always remain as remain in the remain with them, uh, like no matter how much. So no matter how much transactions are going on, there will be a portion of gold which is always there with them. So you know what they started doing? They started giving that portion of the gold as loan. And so these loans, for these loans they will actually get interest back. So that is a way of revenue for them. And just remember this, the loan which they are giving out, the gold on which the loan which they are giving out is not their gold. It is the gold which people gave and took the promissory note, and on that gold they are giving out loan and they are getting interest, which again increase their revenue. So this thing, right? So this is like before doing this, it was one on one. Then eventually they figured out that, let's say, uh, there were they had to only keep 30% of the gold as a reserve, and the 70% they could give out as loans. So on these 70%, they'll get interest. So this is the basic concept of fractional reserve banking. Got it, right? We'll discuss further. We'll discuss further. So initially talking about it won't make that much sense. Where were we? Should I forgot where we left off? Hmm. The birth of fractional reserve banking in Europe. The birth of fractional reserve banking in Europe can be traced back to the practice of goldsmith in medieval times. Goldsmiths were trusted members of society who were skilled. We read about this, right? Yeah. As trusted members of community, goldsmiths were often approached by individuals who needed a safe place to store their valuable items. Goldsmith would offer their services by storing the items in a secure vault, charging a fee for their services. Over time, goldsmith, yeah, I forgot about that. That is another thing. So for these, interest is one way of their revenue. Another thing is for deposits, for depositing and safeguarding the gold, they will get a small fee, right? That is also another form of revenue for them. Over time, Goldsmith realized that they could issue receipts for the items they were storing, which could be used as a form of currency in the community. This practice evolved into what is known as fractional reserve banking. As Goldsmith began to issue more receipts than they had actual gold or precious metals in their vaults. They did this by lending out some of the deposited gold or silver, while still issuing receipts for the full amount. This meant that there was more currency in circulation than there was actual gold or silver backing it, leading to an expansion of money supply. The creation of banknotes and the issuance of currency became a common practice as more people began to rely on paper money instead of actual precious metals. The use of fractional reserve banking became more widespread and eventually became the standard practice for banks around the world. creation of banknotes and their value. The creation of banknotes was a significant development in the evolution of modern banking. Banknotes, also known as paper currency, no, paper money, were originally issued by goldsmiths and merchants in Europe as a substitute for carrying large amounts of coins. These banknotes were essentially IOUs, representing a promise to pay the bearers a certain amount of gold or silver upon demand. Wait, IOU. I forgot what IOU was, man. Wait. Just some understanding. IOU. IOU is an acknowledge a debt. There's no full form for it, huh? How it differs from a promissory note. Oh wait, IOU literally stands for I owe you. Yeah, I owe you this much, and it's just written on there. Got it. These banknotes were essentially IOUs representing a promise to pay the bearer a certain amount of gold or silver upon demand. The value of banknotes was initially based on the gold and silver reserves held by the issuing bank. The banknotes could be exchanged for these precious metals on demand. The amount of banknotes in circulation was limited by the amount of gold or silver held by the bank. However, as the fractional reserve banking developed, banks began to issue more banknotes than they had reserves to back them up. This is fractional reserve banking. This meant that the value of banknote become increasingly based on public confidence in the issuing bank's ability to repay them, rather than the amount of precious metals held in reserve. The value of banknotes was also influenced by factors such as inflation, economic stability, and political events. During times of economic uncertainty or political upheaval, banknotes could rapidly lose their value as people lost faith in the bank that issued them. Conversely, during times of economic growth and stability, banknotes could increase in value as public confidence in banking system grew. Today, banknotes are still issued by central banks and commercial banks around the world, but their value is no longer tied directly to the amount of precious metals held in reserve. So initially, right? Initially, fractional reserve banking means a portion of their value is saved in terms of gold or precious metals. Then I think it was in 1914. Nixon actually in US particularly, Nixon completely removed the gold backing and US became a fiat currency. So the value is completely dependent on the government and not backed by any gold or any metal, precious metal. So today banknotes are still issued by central banks and commercial banks around the world, but their value is no longer directly tied to the amount of precious metals in reserve. Instead, their value is determined by a complex set of economic and political and social factors. Like I said, like Venezuelan currency don't have value because the government just prints a lot and the economy is not that good and politically it's not a strong country. But in terms of US, everyone uses that because the political stability, then the economy is good, then finally the military. So many different factors. So that is what it meant, like a complex set of economic, political, and social factors. The connection between nose is irritating. The connection between goldsmiths and lending practices. Goldsmiths played a crucial role in the birth of fractional reserve banking as they were the first to recognize the potential of their gold reserves to generate profits. By lending out a portion of gold held in their vaults, they could earn interest on these loans and increase their wealth. In the early days of fractional reserve banking, the loans made by goldsmiths were typically backed by physical gold. This meant that if a borrower defaulted on their loan, the goldsmith could seize their collateral and sell it up to recoup its losses. However, over time, goldsmiths began to issue more loans than they had physical gold to back them up. This led to the creation of banknotes, which were essentially promises to pay the bearer a certain amount of gold upon demand. The connection between goldsmiths and lending practices is significant because it established the foundation for the modern banking system. Banks today still lend out a portion of the money deposited by their customers, creating new money in the process. This practice, known as fractional reserve banking, has allowed banks to play a critical role in the growth of global economy. However, it has also led to concerns about the stability of financial system, particularly during times of economic crisis. The impact of fractional reserve banking on economic growth. The emergence of fractional reserve banking in medieval Europe played a significant role in promoting economic growth and development. By allowing goldsmiths to lend out a portion of the deposits they held in reserve, the system created a greater supply of credit in the economy, which in turn fueled investment and entrepreneurship. With greater access to credit, businesses and individuals were able to undertake larger projects and pursue new opportunities that would have been impossible under a strictly metallic currency system. This led to increased economic activity, job creation, and overall prosperity. Moreover, fractional reserve banking enabled banks to provide a more diverse range of financial services beyond simple deposit taking, including lending, currency exchange, and investment management. This stimulated competition in the financial sector, leading to better services and lower costs for consumers. However, the expansion of credit also created the risk of financial instability and the potential for bank runs and panics. As banks lent out more than they held in reserve, they became vulnerable to sudden withdrawals by depositors, which could trigger a chain reaction of the bank failures and economic contraction. Despite these risks, fractional reserve banking has also played a crucial role in supporting economic growth and development over the centuries. Today, virtually all modern banks banking systems operate on fractional reserve basis, with governments and central banks play a key role in regulating and stabilizing the financial system. The establishment of central banks and their function. The establishment of central banks was a significant development in the evolution of fractional reserve banking. Central banks are institutions that have responsibility of managing a country's monetary policy and regulating the banking system. They were first established in the 17th and 18th centuries in Europe, with the Bank of Sweden being the first central bank to be established in 1668. The main function of central banks is to control the money supply in economy, which they do through thorough uh, which they do through various mechanisms such as setting interest rates and buying or selling government bonds. They also act as lenders of last resort, providing emergency liquidity to commercial banks during times of financial crisis. Central banks have power to regulate and supervise the banking sector, ensuring that banks operate in a safe and sound manner and that they comply with relevant laws and regulations. They also play a crucial role in maintaining the stability of the financial system by monitoring potential risk and taking measures to prevent or mitigate them. In addition, central banks are responsible for managing a country's foreign exchange reserves and for promoting economic growth and stability. They work closely with governments and other stakeholders to develop and implement policies that promote sustainable economic growth and stability. Overall, the establishment of central banks has been a critical development in the evolution of fractional reserve banking, providing a vital framework for the management of monetary policy and regulation of banking sector. The role of fractional reserve banking in age of exploration. The age of exploration, which began in the 15th century was marked by a surge in maritime trade and colonization, and it was fueled by the economic system of fractional reserve banking. As European powers expanded their reach across the globe, they needed a reliable means of financing their expeditions and establishing trade relations with new regions. Fractional reserve banking allowed banks to create more money than they held in reserves, which provided a steady source of capital for these endeavors. European countries such as Spain, Portugal, and the Netherlands, among others, utilized fractional reserve banking to finance their overseas ventures. The profits generated from trade and colonization enabled these countries to expand their military might, which in turn allowed them to acquire more resources and territories. The impact of fractional reserve banking on the age of exploration was significant as it helped spur economic growth and facilitate the rise of colonial empires. The availability of capital also allowed for the development of new technologies and innovations in shipbuilding, navigation, and trade. These advancements facilitated greater trade and exchange of goods and ideas between different regions of the world, contributing to the growth of a global economy. Contributing to the growth of a global economy. The role of fractional reserve banking in the age of exploration, therefore, was essential in enabling European countries to establish their dominance over the global economy, paving the way for emergence of modern day international finance. The impact of fractional reserve banking on international trade. Fractional reserve banking has had a significant impact on international trade since its inception. The ability to create money out of thin air allowed through lending allowed for increased liquidity in the economy. Okay, you understand the part of like making money out of thin air, right? So central banks, even today, okay, no, today it's entirely different. But okay, when I say today is entirely different, today is actually worse than when it was during when currencies had gold reserve banking. Gold, gold reserves as backing for the currency they issued. Okay, so these are central banks. So these central banks, they have the power to issue currency, right? So before, what they used to do was, let's say they issue 100 denomination of any currency. I'm saying denomination. I'm not. You know what? Let's go with dollars, right? So before, let's say they issue $100, so that means they have $100 worth of gold with them before. So this $100 worth of gold is the real asset, and the currency is just representing that. So eventually, what happened was, they will only have this $100 became $20 worth of gold. So for $20 worth of gold, they started giving out $100 worth of currency. So that means it had only 20% reserve. So that means literally that $80 came out of thin air. You got it, right? So that is what it means, the ability to create money out of thin air. Okay, fractional reserve banking enabled individuals and businesses to access credit more easily, providing them with means to invest in new ventures, expand their business, and engage in cross border trade. The growth of international trade was further aided by the development of global financial system, in which central banks played a key role. Central banks act as lenders of last resort and are responsible for regulating the money supply, which in turn affects the value of currencies. This regulation helps to stabilize international trade by reducing the impact of economic fluctuations and ensuring that businesses have access to stable currencies. The use of fractional reserve banking also played a role in growth of international trade through the creation of financial instruments such as letters of credit, which allowed merchants to transact with each other across long distances without the need for physical currency. This facilitated the exchange of goods and services across borders, making international trade more efficient and cost effective. Today, the global financial system is deeply intertwined with international trade, and fractional reserve banking remains a vital component of this system. The ability to create money through lending has facilitated economic growth and has helped to increase the volume and diversity of international trade. The evolution of fractional reserve banking in modern times. Fractional reserve banking has undergone several changes since its inception in medieval Europe. One significant evolution in modern times has been the increased regulation and oversight of the banking system. Governments and central banks have implemented various measures to ensure the stability of financial system and to prevent bank runs and financial crisis. Oh, multiple crises. Like plural form of crisis is crisis. Another notable development in the modern era has been the widespread adoption of electronic banking and digital currencies. These innovations have made it easier for banks to conduct transactions and manage the reserves. But they have also introduced new challenges and risks such as potential for cyber attacks and their need for enhanced cyber security measures. Another evolution has been the globalization of banking and finance. Banks and financial institutions now operate across national borders, and the rise of international trade and investment has increased the demand for currency exchange and cross border transactions. This has led to the development of new financial instruments such as currency swaps and derivatives, which have helped to manage currency and facilitate international trade and investment. Overall, fractional reserve banking has played a vital role in the growth and development of modern economies. While it has faced criticism for its potential to create financial instability and exacerbate economic inequality, it remains a crucial aspect of the global financial system, and it will likely continue to evolve and adapt to new technological and economic realities in the years to come. So this part, right, the criticism for fractional reserve banking has always been this: it will create financial instability and exacerbate economic inequality. So when everything is going well, fractional reserve banking is good. But everything is going to shit, it actually makes the problem much worse. So this fractional reserve banking and the whole debt economy is good actually when everything is going well. So when you see all the mm economic crisis, right, which happened like in 2008 or 2001 or even 1929, all those things, all those problems, like when everything was going if everything was going well, like the economies grow at a much higher rate. So it's like leverage. And when everything is going bad, everything will go very bad. Okay, so now the next chapter is usury and monetary policies of Henry First and Henry VIII. You know what? I think there has been a yeah. Hey, this was supposed to come before the no. Okay, no. This is right. This is right. So even though the in the chapter of fractional reserve banking we discuss about modern times, we are not going in detail. So the modern times, modern systems we will go in detail further. But yeah, so fractional reserve banking we first discussed during the goldsmiths, right? Yeah. So after this, like during 12th century, now we are coming to what is the century? Henry First and Henry VIII, 16th century. So chronologically, this is right. Even though the last chapter we discussed a bit about the modern thing. No, we just mentioned it, right? We didn't discuss it further. Okay, so no, I was a bit confused. Like, why was this chapter after the fractions? But chronologically, this is correct. Okay, so in the chapter 5, we are discussing in detail about usury and monetary policies of Henry I and Henry VIII. We are focusing on England. The definition and historical context of usury. Usury is the practice of lending money with interest rates that are considered excessively high or unjust. The concept of usury dates back to ancient times and it has been a controversial topic throughout history. In medieval Europe, the charging of interest was often viewed as a sin and was prohibited by the church. Not just church, right? Like every religious, even in Jews, like in the Jewish culture also, usury is prohibited. Islam is prohibited. In Christianity is prohibited. I don't know about Hinduism. You know what? I really don't know what was the economic systems which we practiced like in India. I'm pretty sure usually like interest and interest practices were there, I think. Like historical context, I'm like completely unaware of that. Uh, Something to do research further. We'll do it later. The term usury comes from the Latin word usura, which means interest. In ancient times, usury was considered a crime and it was punishable by death in some societies. Holy shit. However, over time, the attitude towards usury changed and it became an accepted practice in many parts of the world. During Middle Ages, many Jews became involved in money lending as Christians were prohibited from lending money with interest. However, the Jewish moneylenders were often accused of charging excessive interest rates, leading to anti-Semitic sentiment in some European countries. Oh, like I know, like in the Jewish law, right? In Talmud, it's prohibited for them to charge usury to them, but they can lend it to others. So that was a, I won't say loophole. That was the reason. And in Christianity, it was completely outright banned. So that's why the Jewish people became more uh, prevalent in the money lending industry, and eventually became bankers. We'll discuss further about that. Usury laws were established in many countries to regulate the practice of charging interest, and they have evolved over time. Today, usury laws are designed to protect consumers from predatory lending practices such as payday loans with extremely high interest rates. Despite the controversy surrounding usury, the practice of charging interest has played a significant role in the development of modern finance and banking systems. The role of usury in medieval Europe. Usury played a significant role in the economic development of medieval Europe. During this period, lending and borrowing money were primarily done through informal channels, with the church strictly prohibiting charging interest on loans. However, the increasing need for funds to finance trade and commerce, usury gradually became an accepted practice. Usury provided an opportunity for individuals with access to capital to lend money at an interest rate, making a profit from their investment. This was especially important for those involved in commerce and trade who needed to borrow money to finance their businesses. Moneylenders emerged as a crucial part of the economic landscape in medieval Europe, offering loans to individuals and businesses in need of capital. They played an essential role in facilitating trade and commerce and contributed to the growth of the economy. Usury also provided an opportunity for social mobility, as individuals with access to capital could lend money to those who needed it and earn a profit from their investment. This helped to create a new class of wealthy merchants and financiers who played an essential role in shaping the economic landscape of medieval Europe. Despite the growing acceptance of usury, there were still strong religious and social taboos against it, with many people viewing it as a sin. The church continued to condemn usury, and many monarchs sought to regulate the practice to protect their citizens from excessive interest rates, and fraudulent lending practices. The development of interest rates and their impact on the economy. The development of interest rates and their impact on the economy can be traced back to medieval times when the practice of charging interest on loans was becoming more common. At first, interest rates were relatively low, usually around 5%, but as lending became more popular, rates began to rise. This led to concerns among some religious leaders who viewed charging interest as immoral and argued it went against Christian principles. Despite these concerns, interest rates continued to rise, and by the 16th century, rates of 10% or more were not uncommon. The availability of credit also led to increase in trade and commerce as merchants and entrepreneurs could borrow money to invest in their businesses. However, high interest rates also made it difficult for some borrowers to repay their debts, and this led to the development of debtors' prisons. Holy shit! Where those who couldn't pay their debt were incarcerated. Overall, the development of interest rate had a significant impact on the economy, enabling greater trade and investment, but also leading to issues such as debt and bankruptcy. As interest rates continue to play a crucial role in modern finance, understanding their historical development and impact can provide important insights into the workings of the contemporary economy. The connection between usury and religious authorities. In medieval Europe, religion played a significant role in shaping the attitudes towards usury. Christianity viewed usury as a sin and condemned it as a violation of natural law. The Bible forbade charging interest on loans, and the church reinforced the prohibition. As a result, usury was considered a moral crime that could lead to excommunication and eternal damnation. Damn, bro. Okay, you know what? I am. There are reasons, right? These laws didn't come without any reason. They just randomly didn't write in Bible or in like Quran, even in Talmud. They just didn't randomly write like usury as a crime or a moral sin. There are obvious reasons, and if we dig deep into the modern society, we can still see the arguments arguments to consider interest as a sin against nature, violation of natural law. Religious authorities wielded significant power in medieval Europe and influenced the political and economic policies of the time. They enforced the church's teachings on usury and pressured rulers to pass laws that regulated lending practices. For example, the Fourth Lateran Council in 1215 decreed that anyone who lent money at interest should be denied Christian burial. However, not all religious authorities were opposed to usury. Some theologians argued that charging interest on loans was not inherently sinful, and the church began to relax its stance on the issue in the later medieval period. This shift in attitude allowed for the emergence of professional lenders and development of more sophisticated credit market. Despite changing attitudes towards usury, religious authorities continue to play an influential role in shaping the economic policies of the time. The church's teachings on usury influenced the development of usury laws, which aim to regulate lending practices and protect borrowers from un- unscrupulous lenders. You know what? This even today we will argue, right? Like modern economists, I mean, obviously they'll argue for interest and all, and I can see like towards an extent it's, yeah, sure, it promotes the credit system and the whole debt system as a whole promotes growth, but uh, it actually, the fast growth actually comes with slow problems, and we are actually seeing like some places in the society and even some countries as a whole, we can see the problems with this system. Fast, like there's a saying, right? Fast money comes with slow problem. Same thing, like fast growth comes with slow problems. The evolution of usury laws and their enforcement. May drink some water, guys. Throat dried up. The evolution of usury laws and their enforcement can be traced back to early days of the Christian Church, which condemned the charging of interest on loans. However, the growing need for credit and emergence of a merchant class in medieval Europe led to the relaxation of usury laws. As a result, different regions established varying degrees of regulations, exemptions, and penalties regarding the charging of interest. In the 12th century, the church made concessions for usury on loans. Church made concessions for usury on loans to non-Christians. Yeah, so church made that. Like I said, like in the Talmud, it's there for a Jew cannot charge interest for a Jew, but they can charge interest for other people. So that exception is there. Same with the church. Christian church is also there, but continued to forbid it for loan to fellow Christians. The church also established the concept of just price, which was a fair and reasonable interest rate that could be charged on loans. However, determining what constituted a just price was often a matter of debate. Over time, secular authorities began to establish their own usury laws, often for the purpose of generating revenue for the state. These laws often included exceptions for specific groups such as Jews or Lombards who were allowed to engage in money lending despite usury laws. Enforcement of usury laws varied widely and was often dependent on the political and economic climate of a given region. In some areas, the church had significant power to enforce usury laws, while in others, secular authorities were responsible for enforcement. Punishments for usury could range from fines to imprisonment or even death, depending on the severity of the offense. Overall, the evolution of usury laws and their enforcement reflects the tension between the need for credit and economic growth and the moral and religious concerns about charging interest on loans. The impact of usury on trade and economic growth. Usury or charging excessively high interest rates on loans has been a controversial issue throughout history. In medieval Europe, the practice of usury was generally frowned upon by religious and secular authorities who viewed it as exploitative and contrary to Christian doctrine. However, as trade and commerce expanded, the demand for credit increased, leading to development of more sophisticated financial systems and gradual acceptance of interest bearing loans. So like people who are in need, right, they'll accept the small interest fee, but that again led to uh, what is unfair practices. Despite this evolution, the impact of usury on trade and economic growth remain a contentious issue. Critics argue that high interest rate stifled entrepreneurship and hindered economic development, while defenders of usury claim that it encountered investment. No, no, not encountered. Defenders of usury claim that it encouraged investment and facilitated the movement of capital. You know what? To an extent, it is true. Like the credit, right? The credit increases. First of all, it will increase the capital. Second, it will increase the flow of money. There are so many factors to consider that not modern, like every economic policies and financial systems we will actually discuss like in theory, uh, and the practical examples we will discuss in the currency conundrum book. Yeah, some also pointed out the availability of credit allowed individuals to take on riskier ventures that they would otherwise not have been able to pursue. Ultimately, the impact of usury on trade and economic growth depended on a variety of factors, including the prevailing economic conditions, the availability of credit, and the level of competition in the financial sector. While interest rates may have limited access to credit for some, they also provided an incentive for lenders to compete and offer better terms, ultimately driving down the cost of borrowing and spurring economic growth. The monetary policies of King Henry I and their significance. King Henry I ruled England from 1100 to 1135. During his reign, he introduced several monetary policies that had significant impact on the country's economy. One of the most notable policies was the establishment of standardized silver penny, which replaced the inconsistent coins previously in circulation. This helped to stabilize the economy and facilitate trade by creating a more uniform currency system. Henry I also introduced the concept of tallyticks. No, it's not tallyticks, tally sticks, which were notched pieces of wood that were used as a form of currency and could keep track of debt onto the crown. This system was effective in reducing the use of counterfeit coins and in maintaining accurate records of the country's finances. Another significant monetary policy introduced by Henry I was the creation of Royal Mint, which had a monopoly on the production of coins in England. This allowed for a greater control over the currency supply and helped to ensure the quality of the coins in circulation. Overall, Henry I's monetary policies played a crucial role in establishing a stable currency system in England, which facilitated trade and economic growth. The use of standardized coins and tally sticks helped to reduce the impact of usury and other forms of financial exploitation, while the establishment of Royal Mint helped to maintain the integrity of the currency supply. The connection between usury and political power. Usury also has always been a controversial topic as it involves charging interest on loans, which some consider unethical. However, throughout history, it has been closely tied to political power. In medieval Europe, money lending was mainly conducted by Jewish merchants and moneylenders, who were often exploited and persecuted due to their perceived wealth and influence. In some cases, rulers would allow Jewish moneylenders to operate in their territories in exchange for loans to finance their military campaigns and other ventures. However, in times of financial difficulty, rulers would often expel Jewish moneylenders and confiscate their assets, blaming them for the economic woes of their kingdom. This pattern of exploitation and persecution contributed to the stereotype of Jewish people being greedy and untrustworthy. As the power of monarch grew, so did their control over monetary policies. In England, King Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries in the 16th century led to the surge in land sales, which caused inflation and a need for more efficient financial system. Henry's, Henry VIII. Henry's monetary policy were aimed at controlling the value of coins and limiting the power of moneylenders, who were viewed as a threat to the crown's authority. Overall, the connection between usury and political power highlights the complex relationship between finance and governance. While usury can be a tool for economic growth, it can also be used to consolidate power and control over resources. The significance of Henry VIII's monetary policy. Henry VIII of England is known for his political and social reforms, but his monetary policies also played a significant role in shaping the English economy. During his reign, he implemented several monetary policies to address the country's economic issues and secure his own political power. One of his most significant monetary policies was the debasement of the English currency. In 1544, he reduced the silver content in the coin to increase their value. He reduced the content to increase their value. No, I think it's the other way. And minted new coins with less silver. Uh, like in terms of the quantity he increased by reducing the silver content. This policy allowed Henry VIII to raise more revenue through taxes and fines and also increase his control over the economy. However, it also led to inflation and economic instability in the long run. Another important policy was the establishment of the Court of Augmentations in 1536. This court was responsible for managing the properties and finances of dissolved monasteries and churches, which provided a significant source of revenue for the crown. The court also played a crucial role in the development of modern accounting practices and laid the foundation for future financial institutions. Finally, Henry VIII's monetary policies also included the establishment of a national debt. He borrowed large sums of money from wealthy merchants to finance his military campaigns and political ventures. This created a system of credit and debt that paved the way for modern banking practices. Overall, Henry VIII's monetary policies were significant in shaping the English economy and setting the stage for modern banking practices. The legacy of usury and monetary policies on modern day banking. The legacy of usury and monetary policies on modern day banking is significant. The development of interest rates, the establishment of usury laws, and the regulation of monetary policies have all played a vital role in shaping the modern banking system. The concept of lending and borrowing money with interest is deeply ingrained in the modern banking system, and this can be traced back to the evolution of usury laws and monetary policies. Today, banks are regulated by central banks, which set the interest rate, control the money supply, and act as a lender of last resort. This regulatory framework has been put in place to ensure the stability of the financial system and to prevent the kind of economic turmoil that was often associated with usury practices in the past. The legacy of usury laws and monetary policies can also be seen in various financial regulations that govern the modern banking. These regulations are designed to protect depositors and investors to ensure the stability of the financial system and to prevent banks from engaging in risky and predatory practices. Overall, the legacy of usury and monetary policies on modern day banking is significant and it highlights the important role of government regulations play in shaping the financial system. That was chapter 7. So the next one is chapter 8, which is the English Revolution and the rise of Rothschild. Rothschild. Okay, guys. So today we had discussions about important factors like fractional reserve banking, the establishment, the role of money changers, then goldsmiths, then money lenders, then how the central banks have established, then uh, kings, monarchs, their involvement in establishing a centralized system. So today we learned about all that, and now we are going into more like in depth, right? In depth on development of the modern systems and the people and families who were part of developing the this intricate system and how it is even today, uh, the influence of those in our modern systems. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss it further in the next stream tomorrow, same time. Oh, you know what? Today, even though in the beginning the nose condition was there, but you know what? I think like me not messing up with the nose. If I like start touching the nose and like exerting pressure and all, I think it'll exacerbate the problem. But now it's fine. I think. Yeah. So today we learn. I knew about this, but I didn't know the details. So it's called photic photic sneeze reflex, which means like exposure to intense light causing neural response lead to mucus production and congestion. But I'm saying like going in sunlight, right? Sunlight is not a problem. I don't know why. Like sunlight was so if I immediately go outside, So in this, like they are saying, people who immediately go outside from inside to outside during like daytime will get this problem. But for me, sunlight was always fine. Sunlight is not a problem, but this light is a problem. Maybe it's the intensity. I'll actually get a glass, right? Sunglass, and try if there is any significant difference. No, I know there is a significant difference if I'm not. So I usually sit here and work, right, without the this floodlight for streaming. So at that time, it's fine. There's no problem. But whenever I turn on the light, so we know light is the problem. Now we know the name of the problem, and the solution is the sunglasses, which we'll use tomorrow. I'll try to get it. I have sunglasses. I told you, right? I have a Ray-Ban laying around. I don't know where, but I'll wear it and I'll see how it will impact. What else, guys? Regarding watching streams, not watching streams, the content for the stream. So reading book is one, and like the one which we used to do before, the Minecraft one, and uh, those streams will do. Like sometimes I don't want to make it like a regular thing. Like personally, I don't want to do it, right? I'm not that interested in that now. Maybe eventually we'll one day, like weekends and all, we can have a gaming stream. Fine. Yeah. As I think I'll end the stream. Hope you all learn something. You know what I've learned? I know these things, but it's like jogging memory, and it actually helps me like further in discussing like with topics with facts and all, right? So it actually helps me with refreshing my knowledge base, and reading it out loud actually helps me like in my talking. Yeah, it's a slow process. We'll progress 1% every day. That's the goal, guys. That's the goal. Let's go. So I'll see you all tomorrow. And yeah, Ilo and Subish, you guys were asking about. I tried to stream, man. Yesterday, right? Yesterday evening, I tried to stream, but again, I came back late, and the without the proper energy, try to doing the stream is difficult, right? That was the problem. But maybe on weekends, I can do like two streams, daytime and even during evening. So it'll be the timing will be convenient for you guys. Yeah, Ilo, right? Ilo had this comment, right? I'll read it. So day before yesterday's stream, Ilo is like, Dear Jinu, I hope this message finds you well. I just want to say that you are my favorite streamer. Your content always makes my day. And I really admire the effort you put in your streams. If possible, could you please consider streaming at a time that is a bit more convenient? I really don't want to miss any of your amazing streams. Of course, I completely understand if it's not possible as your schedule might already be quite busy. Thank you so much for everything you do, and I wish you all the best for your channel. Keep being awesome. Sincerely, Elo. I'm pretty sure he. I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not. I mean, regarding the timing thing, I understand, right? I mean, early streams, of course, no one in this time zone is able to join. But for me personally, this is like the much more convenient time, and weekends we'll do evening streams. Okay, so guys, I'll see you all tomorrow. Uh, Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We are going with the Truman exit. So bye, guys.